Hey Art Masters, Dan here. I wanted to talk with you today about a topic about brushstrokes, and I'm going to do kind of a little, kind of a short intro into brushstrokes, and get kind of what my goal is to try to get you thinking about your brushstrokes as more than just putting the paint on, right? And instead, what I want you to try to ask yourself is this question: what is the function of your brushstrokes? What are you trying to achieve with your brushstrokes? And it can be from something as simple as, I don't want to do much with my brushstrokes. I prefer quiet brushstrokes so that the painting has a quiet silkiness about it, like Bouguereau's paintings. And of course they're absolutely exquisite, but they don't have much in the way of brushstrokes. Or I want to have brushstrokes more like Schmidt, or I was going to say Richard Schmidt. He has beautiful brushstrokes, but really Rembrandt is what I was thinking of, or like Van Gogh, where they're very bold and like that. So part one is brushstrokes, and probably the biggest part of the whole thing is your brushstrokes are going to set the tone for your individual style, okay, within your painting. And there's a lot of other elements that can go into determining your style, but brushstrokes is definitely one part of that equation. So once you have your brushstrokes from a style perspective down, then maybe even within like a sub category underneath that, there would be like a function of the brushstrokes. So for example, in this painting here, I just wanted to show you that if you look at this area here, obviously there's paint in here, but you don't see the same kind of brushstrokes that you see through this area. So in this area, what I've done is I've used thicker paint in the lights and thinner paint, it's hard to see because it's glare there, thinner paint in the shadows. And then, like here's shadow, so it'll be thinner paint there. And then thinner paint in the receding areas here, like this. So you notice the difference between the thinner paint here and the thicker paint here. And the brushstrokes really is what I'm trying to, because you can have thin paint and still have it have look of a brushstrokes, and you can have thick paint where it's all kind of smoothed out and you don't have really a feeling of brushstrokes. But what I'm using the brushstrokes here is to make these areas advance, because that's what happens when you have thicker brushstrokes. They pick up the light more, and they also give your eye something in terms of a third dimension to kind of focus in on, and so they will have a tendency to advance these thicker brushstrokes as well as reflect the light and become brighter. So it's an attention getting device as well as a device to make the light look even brighter than it is, because every one of these little paint ridges will give you a little bit more glare, because most paintings, as in all of our life, most things are lit from above because the sun's above, the clouds are above, and normally when you put a painting in your house, you put a light above it. So that is another reason. So anyway, I just wanted you to think about that and see how it's quieter here but thicker brushstrokes here. I'm pretty deliberate about my brushstrokes when I paint, and see how this ear, it's a receding area. So you notice how I soften those brushstrokes right there, because I don't want a lot of attention there. And I'm not saying this painting by any stretch of the imagination is the greatest thing ever. I'm just trying to show you my process of thinking when it comes to brushstrokes. And I'd like to see you develop your own personal ideas of what you want your brushstrokes to be. And you will be surprised, by just creating this set of rules for yourself, it'll make your painting easier, and it'll make it fun, and it'll instantly get better, because you're going to say, okay, I know what to do with this brushstroke here. You know, I know exactly what needs to be done. And then you do that, and then you move on to the next part. And you know, I mean, you still have to mix color and get the value right and all that, but it will take one component of the whole painting process and simplify it down just by setting a rule for it. All right? Have a fantastic day. Take care.